Happy Memorial Weekend. Since it is Memorial Weekend, I feel compelled to do this song to start tonight. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, around the ways of rain. Oh, purple mountains, majesty, above the wooded plain. America, America, God shared his grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for Patriot's tree that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tear. America, America, God shared the grace of thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Good morning. Welcome. Please join me in a breath. We breathe to gather ourselves in. To gather in those thoughts that we send into the past and things we wish we could change, that we send into the future, things we want to white knuckle to control that are very likely out of our control. We breathe together to gather ourselves in so that we might attend to this moment more fully, to open ourselves to the generosity of this very moment more fully. And at this time, we breathe together with intention so that we might be more fully about the work of building church together. I'm glad you're here for that. I kindle some sort of flame each Sunday morning as a visual reminder that there is within us something ineffable and eternal that we call the light. We call it the light for lack of better language. And sometimes that light feels dimmed because life. And we know, though, that it is eternal, and so we come together to be reminded, to have that light kindled again. And sometimes it's kindled because of something we receive when we are here together, even when together is in different places, but gathered through technology. And sometimes, and maybe even more often, that light is kindled because of something we are called to share, whether it's here in the room or as a result of our time together. And so whether your rekindling this week comes from receiving or giving, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. We have been considering our work these last few Sundays, our work as love's operatives. What might it mean for us and require of us to live as if we were, in fact, spies working on behalf of love in the world? This is about enacting love that is only known to those who receive it from us and likely without them knowing who the spy was who loved them. This is about allowing this flow of life we sometimes call God to move through us one to another. Last week, we considered how we might employ the prayer we say together at the end of each Sunday service in just such a way that we might allow ourselves to move in peace, love, ease, joy, or any experience of the moment. If we can allow those qualities to emerge through us, we can, in fact, share them with the world that touches us. This week, we'll consider what we can do when, despite all our greatest efforts, the praying just doesn't seem to be followed by the emerging. What then? As we move in that direction, please hear the words of a poem by Lee Young Lee that might seem out of context for this contemplation. I promise the relevance will be revealed. For now, just hear the words from Blossoms. From Blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches we bought from the boy at the end of the road where we turned toward signs painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins comes nectar at the roadside, succulent peaches we devour, dusty skin and all, comes the familiar dust of summer, dust we eat. Oh, to take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard to eat, not only the skin, but the shade, not only the sugar, but the days, to hold the fruit in our hands, adore it, then bite into the round jubilance of peach. There are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background, from joy to joy to joy, from wing to wing, from impossible blossom to impossible blossom to sweet impossible blossom. And so it is. On the occasion of this Memorial Day weekend, as we move through technology to greet each other through chat on Zoom and through comments on Facebook Live, I invite you to share the name or names of those you choose to remember today. Those who felt called to offer their lives in ways they hoped and prayed would support something bigger than themselves. For me, I will offer the name of my great uncle, Richard Lambert, who died in Korea and received a Purple Heart for what he offered. May we, in our remembering, find ways to live into a world where no more such offerings are called for. Let's take a moment to greet each other. As you continue to share those names and also to greet each other, just saying good morning, whether that's in the whole big group or reaching out to folks through the private messages, leaving messages in the comments on Facebook Live. I'll remind you, you can always find out what events are coming up with all the details on facebook.com/thechurchwithin, and then you just click events. You can also sign up for the weekly email at thechurchwithin.org. That email also feeds to Facebook through the Church Within's page, so you'll see that on Friday mornings a little bit after 10. It sends out at 10, and I don't know, something happens in the internet that it takes a little time to get where it's going. And also we remind you of some of those things here. I'm working hard to move our culture as a congregation so that we think during the week, oh, I wonder what's going on at my church. And we go to Facebook or we go look at that email or you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I'm working on both of those things together. If you're already signed up for the email and if you opened it last week, you will see that I shared a couple of events that are coming up that I also mentioned last Sunday. We're going to have a time for just adults with kids in June, so that kids are not in a huge group because they can't get vaccinated yet, and we want to keep them safe and also let them see some humans that are not just at home with them. In July, we'll have a full congregational gathering that you are all invited to, and that will be in a park, maybe Garfield Park. If there's a park that you know of that's easy to get space in, let me know that. I keep trying to think of places and I just really can't come up with anything, and so I don't know, you're a group of folks who may just be wondering why I'm not thinking of the place, so let me know that. And then the other thing that's happening, which I shared last week, is that we are gleaning Garfield Park's Saturday farmers market. So what that means is that volunteers will go around about a half an hour before the end of the market and gather leftover produce from the farmers there. And this is through the Society of St. Andrew of Indiana. And then that produce goes to No Questions Asked Food Pantry, which is currently residing in the church. And so what it looks like we're going to do is one of those Saturdays will be dedicated actually to children's church, and we'll get the kids there and we'll have a snack together, and then we'll talk about gleaning and why are we doing it, and then we'll go do the thing. And then the others will be you. So if you're interested in doing that, you can email Margie Ahern. She's going to put her email in the chat right now so that you have it. It's not much work. Margie assures me that the most lifting you kind of do at any one time is just carry a bag of produce. And what I really hope is that 2 or 3 folks will work together on those Saturdays, not because it takes 2 or 3 folks, but because why would you not want to take the opportunity to see some church folks you haven't seen for a little bit, So I hope that as the details come out about the picnic events or the outside events, that you'll get those on your calendar and that you will make some time to go glean some produce. What a fun thing to do on a Saturday. And that we will continue to find our way together in person as it becomes safe to do so. Let's take a breath. Let's allow the energizing that comes up in our body as we consider safe ways to gather to carry us into a time of meditation and prayer, first with music from Mark Proctor and then the words of Mary Van Noy.
I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have loved you, and you are mine. Seek the face of God and long for Him. He will bring you His light and His peace. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have loved you, and you are mine. Seek the face of God and long for Him. He will bring you His care and His love. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have called you, and you are mine. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have loved you, and you are mine.
Good Good morning, everyone. At the Church Within, we meditate to further quiet our minds and to become centered, to connect to Source and to each other. We bring our awareness to love's presence in and around us. We recognize that we are love and can be love in any circumstance, in any situation that life brings us to. Let us get comfortable in our seats, and if it feels right, close our eyes. Please take a breath with me. In through the nose, filling up the belly, ribs, and chest, and exhaling through the mouth. Again, breathing in peace, breathing out love, breathing in joy, breathing out love, breathing in a sense of ease, breathing out love. Breathing more normally now and feeling the wholeness of ourselves, connecting to the body, mind, and spirit. Breathing the peace, joy, love, and ease into our body, to any areas that may feel tight or uncomfortable or hurting. Simply breathe. And then breathing the peace, joy, love, and ease into our spirit, to any areas that are blocked or stagnant. Simply breathe. Breathing the peace, joy, love, and ease into our mind. Again, to any areas that are uncomfortable or compromised. Simply breathe. Feeling the free flowing of body, mind, and spirit, the wholeness, and knowing that we can bring ourselves back to this feeling of wholeness at any time. And bringing ourselves back to this time and space by moving our body as we need to. The Church Within was founded in prayer, and there are many people on the prayer team ready to pray with you. If you have a need, you can go to the link on our chat page or to thechurchwithin.org. Thank you.
Life isn't all or nothing. Life isn't all or nothing. You are not all or nothing. Nothing except nothing is all or nothing. What a ridiculously simple thing to say. What an easy sentence to utter. Something that in this moment at least seems so obvious that it begs the question, is it worth saying? Is it worth saying? And I believe it is. Last week I gave you a kind of affirming Sunday message that could become harmful if we aren't careful. I told you that you have the ability in any moment to utilize that closing prayer to fill yourself with peace. To not only fill yourself with peace, to expand that peace around you, and to do so in such a way to do so in such a way that those who are gathered near you might find welcome within the peace that you have expanded around you. And it's true. It's true. You have that ability. We all have that ability within us, and it's true except when it's not, or at least when it's not right now. Sometimes, whatever it is that has triggered the cascade of neurotransmitters that tell our body we're not safe, simply won't be put off. It won't be told no. That flood of chemicals in your body, the signals that come in through our vagus nerve, all the ways we respond to such triggers simply won't be calmed down until we're out of the situation and have found our way to safety. When that happens, sometimes we feel like we've failed. We wonder, do I just need to be more spiritual? Should I have been able to pray my way out of this? Why couldn't I breathe in this moment in such a way that I found that calm that I was told is available to me? Could I have, I don't even know. The thing is, even the most powerful tools have limits. You might have a reaction to me saying that. Even amongst the spiritual, not religious, sometimes old purity thinking makes its way in, and we think, well, no, Darren, in spirit there are no limits. Well, I don't live there, and neither do you. You live here. You live here. We live here. And so I can believe in this divine beingness, this isness of life that animates us and connects us. And I do believe in all that. And I also know that sometimes in the moment, even the most powerful of tools falls short because we're here, being humans, doing human things, human being. And it's hard sometimes. And when we add to that difficulty, the consequence of not extending grace to ourselves in those moments, because we didn't grow wings or develop a shining halo, which sounds like a joke, except that's how we treat ourselves sometimes. When we add judgment to that instead of extending grace, we simply make matters worse. We make what's hard harder. When the prayer or any practice we might be working within that moment doesn't bring us the effect we want, what then are we to do? What then are we to do? First, give it some time. Give it some time. Second, give it some more time. The real issue in these hot moments, the fight or flight or freeze moments, isn't that the thing isn't working. It's that it might not be working as we expect or when we expect, and it might just be that we need to go do something else for a while. Instead, we often get up trying to wrangle the feelings to the ground. Then we feel bad not only because of the feelings, but about the fact that we had the feelings, and then that's a whole mess. And then we do weird things. We do weird things like apologize to our friend whose clay class we're taking because we acted weird when we were taken by surprise by some sensory overload. That is a weirdly specific example. Take it for what it's worth. Make of it what you will. We give ourselves time because the peace that comes might not be that we are suddenly angelic in the moment. The peace that comes might actually be the realization 3 days later that we were fine in that moment and nothing needed to be different. We were just writing it out. And that was all that ever needed to be done. We're just writing it out, and that might be all that ever needed to be done. It might just be that you are, for now, just fine. It might just be that you are, for now, just fine. And in those moments, I have a backup practice. I like to have some options made available, some redundancies, if you will. And so I have a backup practice that I'm going to share this morning, which is that you simply say to yourself, welcome home. Welcome home. We use that line from Ram Dass so often, and I love it as much as you love it. And you and I together love it as much as Yvonne Brandenburg loves it, and she's the one who introduced me to it, and many of us here to it. We're all just journeying together home. Of course, Ram Dass said walking, and I'm changing it. I'm changing it because inclusive language is an important step to living out justice and equity. And so we are all just journeying together home. Yvonne used to say that if there's really any length to that journey home, it's maybe a quarter of an inch. It's maybe a quarter of an inch we need to traverse. In those moments when peace feels a million miles away, the biggest lack of peace is the result of our thinking we should be somehow different right then. When we breathe out a sigh and think to ourselves, welcome home, we can be assured that the journey is complete. We're already home. We were home all along. We just forget. We forget, or we become convinced that we don't belong, but you belong. The journey itself is remembering, not taking more steps. In those moments, when you feel a gap between who you are and who you think you maybe want to be, and maybe you say should be, welcome home. Welcome home can bridge that gap. Welcome home traverses lifetimes of struggle so that we can arrive in this very moment. In the face of those who say, this isn't your home, we say to ourselves, welcome home. Welcome home anyway. They'll figure it out or they won't. Welcome home. Welcome home reminds us that we belong. Welcome home. Welcome home. Tell yourself that. Welcome home. And then forgive yourself. And that's a trick. The trick is you don't have anything to forgive yourself for. It's hard to know that until you've offered yourself the forgiveness, though. And then you realize, I didn't need to forgive myself for a thing. But you won't believe me until you've tried. Welcome home. Welcome home to all of you and to all of you, just as you are, every last bit. Welcome home. Love's operatives operate best from home. And love's operatives recognize that where they are can always be home. Welcome home. Margie Ahern forwarded me an email from the work of Richard Rohr last week that ties into this line of thinking, and it uses ideas we circle around often and traverse often, and that is that holiness is wholeness. We forget that. We forget that holiness only exists within wholeness because we are so regularly trying to excise some aspect of our own humanity as if we could somehow become more whole by being less of ourselves. Forgive yourself for that, maybe. It's not true. The world doesn't need you to be less of you. The introduction to The Contemplation by Rohr was a quote by David Benner. Benner writes, "Spare me perfection. Give me instead the wholeness that comes from embracing the full reality of who I am just as I am." Welcome home. In that same vein, earlier this week, I came across a poem by Mark Strand entitled "Keeping Things Whole." Strand writes, "In a field, I am the absence of field. That is always the case. Wherever I am what is missing. When I walk, I part the air, And always the air moves in to fill the spaces where my body has been. Feel that on your skin as I read it again. When I walk, I part the air, and always the air moves in to fill the spaces where my body's been. We all have reasons for moving. I move to keep things whole. Think of the last time you got hooked by something, out of sorts, wound up. Then fast forward to the moment you realized you were hooked by something, out of sorts, wound up. What was your reaction? What was your reaction to yourself in that moment? Could you have been kinder to yourself in that moment? Could you have allowed yourself to breathe into your wholeness, even the parts of you that seem so at odds with your aims in that moment, in that situation? Can you imagine yourself in that moment turning inward and saying, welcome home? Try it. You were there in that moment to keep things whole. Wholeness in the world is not possible without you for as long as you draw breath. Wholeness in the world is not possible without you. Wholeness in the world is not possible without you. I repeat it because I hear you in my own mind arguing. Wholeness is not possible in this world without you. Welcome home. Jamie Varin writes, self-love doesn't feel like loving every single part of yourself at all times. No, self-love is a homecoming, a safe space, a place to be exactly who you are, a safe spot to land in a hardened world, a listening within to how you really feel and a lack of judgment on the answer. It's your body and your mind at peace. It's a calm understanding that whatever happens, you've got your own back. You will show up for you. Self-love isn't something you can perfect and arrive at. It's an ongoing, unfolding, unlearning, and becoming, all at once. Let's take a breath. I believe wholeheartedly in the potential of that closing prayer and the way we considered it last week, and that prayer we will speak together today. I believe wholeheartedly in that prayer as a way to open this moment that we find ourselves in. I believe wholeheartedly that prayer is in fact a key that unlocks a door to this moment and allows us to cross a threshold that sometimes seems unavailable to us. And I also know that this doesn't mean that hard situations will shift immediately because we know a prayer. Let yourself off the hook. Here's the even harder part. Maybe. Sometimes. You'll have to let folks know you have needs, and you'll have to let them be supportive of you. I'm sorry for that. It's un-American at the very least. I know. I don't like it. Maybe you don't like it with me. I've become quite enamored with the work of the spiritual coach Jeffrey Marsh, and Jeffrey Marsh assures me that it's normal to have needs and for people to respond to those needs, and it doesn't mean that we're broken or weak or any of the lies that we have been told or that we tell ourselves about having needs. Jeffrey Marsh assures me that, in fact, it's trauma that made us think that having needs equates to simply being needy. I still find it somewhat suspect. But just in case it's true, I share it here with you, and I think it might be true. Love's operatives say yes to receiving love and care. Love's operatives, you see, don't think that they are special or unique in being secret agents working for love. They free themselves to receive love as a loving act toward other operatives. Because without the willingness to receive love, love's other operatives might not be able to get about the business of loving that they are here to do. Let people do their good. Let them do it for you. Now then, I promised I would show you how Li Young Lee's poem From Blossoms applies to all of this, and I want to keep that promise. I will admit alongside that my favorite instances of the use of that prayer that we close with, or any prayer, are those moments when we find quick shift. Those do happen often. They do happen quite a lot. It's a good practice. And when we don't find a quick way in, we wait. And that waiting is really just the start of a longer process. When we choose to wait, welcoming ourselves home to the moment and all that it entails, a more extended practice has begun. It is a practice that requires us to live our wholeness and also to cherish it. Richard Rohr wrote in that email I mentioned earlier, living wholeness is participating in the dynamism of love that gathers everything together into greater unity and consciousness. It is to live with an openness of mind and heart, to encounter others not as strangers, but as part of one's self. When we enter into the heart of love in this way, we enter the field of relatedness and come to know our truest and deepest belonging and calling. Wholeness and love are inseparable. In the words of Elia Delio, our challenge today is to trust the power of love at the heart of life, to let ourselves be seized by love, to create and invent ways for love to evolve into a global wholeness of unity, compassion, justice, and peacemaking. To understand what any of this has to do with peaches or a poem about peaches, hear first just the first words of the poem. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches. Do you feel that? Do you feel how that is a condensed telling of the story that I've been describing this whole time? A prayer doesn't work just now, so we wait. And then we wait a bit more, but first we welcome ourselves home. And then we forgive ourselves so that we might realize that we don't need to be forgiven for anything. And through that, we are reminded that our holiness exists in our wholeness. Our wholeness doesn't exist just as some measurable now. Our wholeness is made even more evident as it exists also through time. The blossoms on the tree already had peaches in them. And the peaches still, in a way, have blossoms within them. We might not see it in just this moment, but the wholeness of the peach is made more as we consider it through time. The wholeness of the blossom is made more as we consider it through time. Self-forgiveness allows us to see through time in just the same way. It allows you to recognize your wholeness as the entirety of your life, not just some version of yourself you're aiming to be. It's all the moments, even the cringeworthy ones. someone wanted to love you even then, even if they couldn't figure out how. Love yourself. Love yourself even now. It is a wholeness that only exists when you remember it was never just you. It was never just you. It was you and all those around you, those who touched you and who you touched, and those whose lives you thought were out of reach, and those who you've walked away from and allowed to leave you in this moment just now. It's a whole brown paper bag of peaches. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches we bought from the boy at the end of the road where we turned towards signs painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins comes nectar at the roadside, succulent peaches we devour, dusty skin and all. Comes the familiar dust of summer, dust we eat. Then, a couple stanzas down, Lee describes what our lives could be, what this moment or any moment of our lives could be, but he sneaks it in as if he were writing about a peach. And I don't want to comment about it after I've read it because I want to leave it. I want to leave it resonating as it is. So I will say this before. In these last two stanzas of the poem, Lee is describing you and life and community and this moment, every bit of it. He's describing what it might be like if you let your whole self be enough. Take it. Take it all. Let your holiness arise from your wholeness. Let yourself be loved just as you are right now, and especially love your whole self just as you are, at least for now. Breathe. Breathe and hear this description of you and the potential of this moment. Oh, to take what we love inside. To take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard. To eat not only the skin, but the shade, not only the sugar, but the days. To hold the fruit in our hands, adore it, then bite into the round jubilance of peach. There are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background. From joy to joy to joy. From wing to wing, from blossom to impossible blossom to sweet, impossible blossom. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Great things happen when God mixes us. Great things happen when God mixes us. Great and beautiful, wonderful things. Great things happen when God mixes us. Some find life, some find peace, some people even find joy. Some see things as they never could before. Some people find that they can now begin to trust. Great things happen when God makes us. Great things happen when God makes us. Great and beautiful, wonderful things. Great things happen when God makes us. Some find health, some find hope, some people even find joy. Some see themselves as they never could before. Some people find that they can now begin to live. Great things happen when God mixes with us. Great things happen when God mixes with us. Great and beautiful, wonderful things. Great things happen when God mixes with us. Some find peace, some are disturbed. Some people even find joy. Some see the lives as they never could before. Some people find that they must now begin to change. Great things happen, God mixes with us. Great things happen when God mixes with us. Great and beautiful, wonderful things. Great things happen when God mixes with us.
In just a moment, we will say together the offering prayer, and we will sing the closing song, and then we will say the closing prayer that we focused on the entire time last week and that I mentioned so many times today. And then there will be time for breakout rooms, and I hope you'll stay. I hope you'll stay. Now, the thing I really invite you to, and of course it's especially if you don't know the song, is to sing right out loud and to say the words of the prayers right out loud. Something happens. Something happens when we use the vibrations we create with our voice or our hands moving through air as we're signing. Something happens to the atmosphere around us. And so I hope you will say and sing all these words right out loud. Creator God, all that I am and all that I have comes from your limitless supply. I am an open and willing conduit through which your good flows. I share all that I have as you direct. Love, friendship, prosperity, peace, abundance, and joy are gifts that I share and receive. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
All people are holy, many times one God. All people are holy, only love is real. No matter who you are, no matter where you've been, let's gather together, let the Spirit in. All people are holy, many paths, one God. All bodies are holy, only love is real. Only love is real.
May the peace of God go before us into this glorious week. And may the peace remain wherever we have walked. Peace above us and below us. Peace to the right and to the left. Peace within and without. Peace in the face of everyone we meet. Peace in the words to everyone we greet. Amen. Thank you all for being here this morning and making time in the midst of it. For those in Zoom, you have a couple minutes before the breakout room set up. For those joining on Facebook Live, thank you so much for having done so. I'm going to end that live feed. Wherever you're watching it though, the Zoom link is there. If you want to come join breakouts, you're always welcome to do so. But for now, blessings on the rest of your week. Welcome home.